Today we're going to take a look at starting the kitchen in this St. Clair existing home. If you've never used Revit before, it's okay. We're going to concentrate just on the kitchen. I already pulled some of the things out so that we have a open palette in there. If you're just opening this for the first time, I just want to go over some really quick things you may have already learned in one of the other classes that we use Revit in, like the design series studios and the actual Revit course, and also interior design now. So if you hold your shift key down, you're in the 3D view. If you hold your shift key down, and I would recommend that you get a wheel on your mouse. You can hold the wheel down, and with your shift key held down and the wheel down, you can orbit around the house and just take a look at it here. If you don't have a wheel on the mouse or a mouse at all, you can use this navigation wheel right here. I'm just going to click on it. It's over here on the right hand side, and hold your laptop pad button down to orbit on orbit, and then that helps you to orbit. It's not as clean, and some people will also zoom here. You can zoom. I wouldn't recommend that you use any of the other ones. Maybe pan. Pan, you can hold the mouse button down on pan to pan. Rewind is like a rewind of just the views, and then save these inside here. You can look at them, but you might get a different view for later. And I'm going to go ahead and pick this X mark right here. Some people will use this kind of compass right here and go around like that. I just don't even really like that too much. Or they'll use this visual view cube to go to the different views. So you can do this. You can use this in the 3D view to get to the different views, but let me show you over here in the project browser. These are the different views. These are the views to use. And be careful, you're working with floor plans and not ceiling plans. So if you wanted to go to the first floor plan, here you can double click on first floor plan, and that'll bring you to the first floor plan. You can roll the wheel back towards you and zoom in and out. So use the wheel of the mouse to zoom by rolling the wheel, and hold the wheel down to pan, right? But in this, because it's a flat view and it's not the view cube, if you try to orbit, you won't be able to because it's a flat view of the first floor. So, like I said, be careful of the ceiling plans, but down here, we do have our elevations. They are created automatically with Revit, so I can double click on one of these and kind of see the different levels. It's just a basic house with a deck and the different levels. Once you do that, they're starting to open up here. I mean, you can go back and click on these tabs to get back to those views that you had open. But if you open more than one file, you'll get 2 3D views, and it gets a little hard to work with. So I would recommend that you double click in the project browser to get to those views. So the kitchen camera I did create. See, we have kind of an empty space that we're going to start to put some of those things in. This is our first video. Down at the bottom left corner, some of you may have learned this already, but this is something we're picking up here in our first video. You have the choice to change the visual style or how it looks. Right now I have it at realistic. Okay, so I can change this back to a hidden line here, and then it'll just show me the kitchen without the realistic, which kind of slows it down a little if there's a lot of material. But you can see that when I'm on realistic, this is all grayed because there's really no material that's picked for the wall. It's a generic wall. So once we get to that point, we can make it look really good. So let's start by putting the furniture in. I'll go back to the hidden line, but at this point it's okay. On the left side in the project browser, I'm going to look for a first floor plan, but make sure you're in the floor plans and not the ceiling plans. You'll know the difference right away because look, that's the ceiling. You're looking up and there's the floor plan. Okay, so when we have a space like this and we want to add furniture, we can go to component and place a component. So in the architecture tab, we're going to component and place a component. Now what that does is it gives you in properties a list of all the things that are kind of like loaded in this drawing. Now I've already loaded a lot of these things in this drawing. So they're here, or some of them that we're going to be using are here, but I'd like to also show you where to get them. I like to pick this properties menu up and put it on the right hand side because look, there's a lot of space over here. I'm going to put my pointer right there next to properties and hold my left mouse button down and drag it out and let go. You see how it opens up this whole project browser here? It makes it bigger so I can see it all. And then more importantly, I'm going to pick this up, and this is the tricky part because you have to come all the way over, like past the edge until you see that image of where it would go. So you got to go down a little bit because if you go too far up, it's going to show you that it can go at the top. And we don't want it at the top. We want it to be right here over on the right-hand side, right there. Let go. Oops. There it goes. And then it kind of like docks it. Now you can see the whole project browser and the whole properties. And they're docked. I can see that they're docked because you'll be able to see the rest of your tabs here at the top. And to add something real quick, if you right click, you can get your browser back if it accidentally closes. You can go to browser and there's your project browser, which is one on the left, and then this is going to be for your properties to get that back if they close. All right, so you can use your escape key to get rid of this cabinet that's on the end of your pointer. Or you can click on modify at the top left. See that modify button? I wish they would rename that ESC for escape because it pretty much does that too. Okay, so I'm giving you this file to work with so we can do this together and get some of the families in place. So because we have this whole list of families, we were just taking a look at it, and those are like the refrigerator and all of these base cabinets. Those are called families. We need to take a look at loading them into a drawing because depending on the instructions for this course, you might be renovating this one, or you might be creating a whole new one in a different file. So check the instructions for what to do after, we create this project. So to get you set for other projects, let's make sure that your families are loaded. If we go up to insert, there are two things here. There's load family right here, and then there's load Autodesk family. So I'm going to start with this one because this is the way that Revit is out of the box, right? You won't have all of the families loaded. So once you're signed in, you can go to load Autodesk family, and if I wasn't signed in to Autodesk or had that sign in saved on my computer, then it would send you right to Autodesk to sign into your account, which you would have an account because you used it to download this, or you might be using, the computers at the school. You may have to do it this way, where you're going to browse different categories. So when you look at these categories, we have casework, which is really going to be all the base cabinets and the wall cabinets, upper cabinets, and the countertops. That's casework. And then we do have windows and doors and those type of things that are out there. And then furniture. The furniture includes all of these typical ones that are there for us. And then we have plumbing. Plumbing is going to be for all those things like in the bathroom, the bathtubs and the drains and showers, urinals. Water closet is actually a toilet. So you'd need to know that that is like a regular toilet. Now, so we're going to be using architectural for setting up this drawing. And that's plumbing. So going back here under specialty equipment. I don't know why the specialty equipment does include the domestic type of things like the refrigerator and the stove. We've got kitchenettes and things like this that you can load. Sometimes we just have these cooktops with cabinets underneath, but you would want to get then the things that you would use, like the washer and the dryer and dishwasher. And there should be a refrigerator in here, all different ones. Look at the here. So it doesn't really matter which one we use. I'm just going to go ahead and pick one of these. I'll pick the one here side by side with an ice maker, which is the one I'd like to get. I still have the old one here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then we want to make sure that we get one of these here, electric range. It might tell me that I already have it loaded, but we want to get the small one here, not these huge ones, the 30-inch. The 30-inch right here, one of these two, because we're working with the space that we have to create this existing, so-called existing close to kitchen. I'm just going to go ahead and pick load. And now it loads it. It's asking if I want to override, and I don't. So I'm going to cancel that one. And this one I already had in there. So there it is. All right, so now it's loaded. And so you can do that for the sink as well. I forgot about that. So let's go over to insert load Autodesk family. We'd have to go back anyways for the sink because it's over here. You can go to all results, and then see how it brings you back to the last folder that you were in. So I'm going to go down to plumbing, and this is the house that we're working on is the house that I bought a couple years ago. I've been updating it a lot lately, just a little bit at a time. So I'm going to go with the double, which is what I have. I'm going to click on sink kitchen double and then pick load. And if you've already loaded it, then I'm sure it'll give me that message again to override it in case you already had one in there. All right. So now that we have those things loaded, you can go over to architecture and component and place a component. And now over in properties, this is where we want to scroll down to find that things like the double sink, which there it is right there. I wasn't showing it. There it is. And before you place it, you've got it on the end of your pointer. I've got the double sink there. I'm going to press and let go of my space bar. And by pressing and letting go of my space bar, I'll be able to rotate it into place. And now I can come up against this wall here and click. Now I don't have to put it right up on the wall. I can just place it right there. There's 3 different ways you can cancel out of this. You can right click and cancel, but you see how it doesn't get you completely out? Even if you use your escape key, sometimes it doesn't. So I use the modify button. Now, when I get close to this sink here, I can click on it and use my arrow keys to move it around. It's kind of an easier way to move things around. And the closer that you are, the more accurate it moves. And then you've got all these little arrows that will help you to flip it. So if you wanted to flip it so that it goes, the other way, you can come over here and flip it the other way. It's got a lot of different controls when you see these double lines. And also we have these witness lines that we can use. In case you didn't learn about these in another course, these are giving you the distance between the wall and the unit. But if I hold my left mouse button down on that little blue witness line, I can pull it over here until I kind of find where it's giving me, where I can, let go and put this little witness line there. You see how it's lining up with the edge of it? And the same thing here. I can hold this down, bring it over here, and this time I have to press and let go of my tab key. These are like these little tips and tricks, right? So right now it's going to the center, but if I hold my left mouse button down on that little grip and I come over here and I try to snap there, it won't. I have to hold my left mouse button down on that, bring it over, and then at the same time I'm holding my left mouse button down, I am going to go close to the inside wall and tab and let go. Tab and let go. And it brings you over to that wall. And when I let go, it's going to be placed there. Now, these witness lines are used for a lot of everything, walls and everything else in here. So this is probably a good idea to learn about this. And now if I wanted that sink to just be exactly 3 feet from the wall, I can click on this number right here. Now, here's something else. When you press 3 without anything else, just 3, it's going to default to feet. So I'm just going to press 3 and enter. 3. If I come in here, if I want 3'6" and I click on this, I can go 3 space 6. 3 space 6. You don't have to put anything else, just the 3 space 6 is going to be, I'm pressing enter, 3'6". So these are little tips, and there's more to say about it, but for now I'm going to move forward because we can use our little arrow keys to also move these around. So now we want to, I'm taking this out, so the file that you get won't have this, already in place. So that's why I'm doing it like with you and together so that you can do it as well. So this is that range. And if you just rest your pointer here, you'll see it's specialty equipment range 30-inch. I don't know what I loaded, but yours doesn't have to be exact. We're getting this for the practice. I'm going to component, place a component, and I'm going to look for that range. And I'm just going to go ahead and pick the 30-inch right there. It's a little different than that one. It's actually the one that I have. You can press and let go of the space bar to rotate it. But let's go ahead and leave it. Let me see. I'm going to leave it this way right there. And then I'm going to show you how to rotate it without the space bar. I'm just going to click right there. Let's say I have to rotate it. I'm going to go ahead and escape out of that. Okay. So let's say I have to rotate this. I'm going to click on it. And then you see how the ribbon changes? It's green. That means I'm in a command, and there's a new tab there that says specialty equipment. And now I can get to these modify commands. And this has to do with selecting the object first. Sort of like AutoCAD, you can select the object first and then the command, or you can start the command and then work with the object, select the object. So here I selected the stove, and now I arrange, and then I can click on this rotate. Now with this one, it's asking me for a rotation like base point first, the base point. So I'm going to click here. Then it's giving me the option to select where it's going to start and where it's going to go. So I'm going to pull my mouse to the right here and click. And then I'm going to pull my mouse up, straight up, and click, and there it's rotated. Now you can hold your left mouse button down. You see how you can just drag this thing around? So you can drag it around wherever you want it to go. I'm just going to go right there. And like I said, you could use your arrow keys as well, because this is a little bit smaller, or a little bit closer to the door opening. All right. Okay, now we have the refrigerator. So let's go back to architecture and place a component. And now we're going to look for this refrigerator. Right here it is. You've got the left hand and the right hand. So that makes a difference in how it opens, which kind of makes sense because left hand is, you're using your left hand and it swings towards the left when you're facing it. And right hand is the other way. So it is a left, let's see. No, it's a right hand. It's a right hand refrigerator. It doesn't really matter at this point. I really want to just show you how to put furniture in and countertops. And so here I'm going to press and let go of my space bar until I get the front over here, and I'm going to go ahead and place that. It's a little bit bigger. That's why I hesitated. Do I really want that big one there? Sure. Why not? And then you can cancel out and click the modify button, select it, and use your arrow keys to get it over a little bit more to the wall. We may have to move that a little bit because it looks like if I get closer to it, I can get it a little bit further away from it. There it goes. All right. So now we have these different families that are loaded and ready to put the base cabinets in. So before we place that, let me go show you how to bring yours in. So we go to Insert and we go to Load Autodesk Family. And then we want to go back to the main categories and go to Casework. And we have a lot of different cabinets to use here. I know that there's one here that's for under the sink, and we got all of these different countertops as well. So you can get the countertop that has this kind of cutout shape for the sink hole, or you can get one with the sink. I think I may have tried either one of these, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the this countertop with the sink and also the one without the sink. This one is rounded though. I don't have it rounded. I should, but there it is. I'll get that one. Like I said, it doesn't really matter, but we do need to have here a countertop that's straight. Here it is right here. And you can see that there are a lot of options. So I'm just showing you how to create it for an existing kitchen. But as you start to, work with your own, you can come in here and get the measurements and decide on which one you're going to use. Here's a base cabinet and sink unit. So we do have one that has a sink. You can see the difference. It's like it has the double doors, just like the one I think I need to use. Yeah, this takes a little bit of time to figure out like which ones you want to bring in here. You can pick the ones that you want, and then when you load it, you can pick the sizes. Let me see, load it. Once you load it, it's gonna, to override. I don't need to override any of those. Yeah, all of these. I think a lot of these I have to override because they're already loaded. So when you go to architecture and down to component and place a component, these are loaded in place. So I think I may have used this one. So I'm going to go with the countertop 24-inch depth, and I'm going to rotate it over this way, and I'm just going to click out in here space because I want to show you. Let's go ahead and cancel out of that you can click on this countertop and use these little drag arrows, to kind of like modify uh, the length of it. So I'll pick this up and put it over here and see, I think I may have put it here, and then use these little arrows to pull it over. We don't have any base cabinets in yet, but we can at least modify this one so that it's like up to the refrigerator right there. I think there's a little gap there. And then this is going to help me to change the hole. The hole for the sink needs to go a little bit smaller. I can kind of adjust this for the hole. So you've got the idea. There's like the hole that's underneath the sink so that it's going to goes in place. I probably want to get that a little bit closer, just like that. All right, cool. So there's one of our countertops. And then we have the other countertop that you have to go to component and place the component. And I think it's right here, the straight shot. We're going to need 2 of those because there's one on both sides of the range there. So I'll place this one here. Goes all the way. I'll just put one out here someplace so that I can adjust it. And just work around this to get this range right there. I believe it just kind of, it's a smaller one. Goes right here to the end. Just giving you a little bit of practice of figuring this out and like doing one so that you can do more and change it up if you'd like. All right, so there's your countertops. You can see all the different arrangements of one that has a sink inside of it already, ones that you can put and then open up the door, the opening for the sink. All right, so let's go take a look at these base cabinets. These are in alphabetical order, so here we go, base cabinets. Let's bring in, it looks like I have a couple of smaller 12-inch ones here that are single base cabinets. See this over here? And I'm going to place it here. There it is. Now, what I need to do is kind of check and see which side it's on. So I'm going to go back to the camera view. Just take a look. See, it's backwards. So I have to flip it. And so I go back to the first floor plan and I click on it here. Now this is where it gets a little tricky because the counter's in place, but if you get closer and you move closer to it, you'll be able to click on it. And I'm going to have to flip it. So you look for these little arrows. There it is. Flip that over. I'm going to now drag this back into place right there. All right, so I'm going to show you another tool in Revit that's really handy to know about. You can select an object like this countertop. You can right-click. Now, you want to be careful here because you don't want to hide the whole category because everything in that category will hide. But let's just say we want to only hide that countertop because we have something underneath it. We want to work with that. I think this is good learning experience too. You can go to hide and view element. What that does is it hides that temporarily. It doesn't hide the whole category, just that one element. But you have to know to get it back, it goes down here and underneath this little light bulb down at the bottom. It's called Reveal Hidden Elements. So if I click on Reveal Hidden Elements, there it is. When we need to get that countertop back, we'll be able to bring it back this way. The category is going to be a little bit different, so I'll be able to show you that in a little bit later. So now we have this base cabinet. We can place another one, or we can copy this one 3 times. So I'm going to select it. And up here, you see how you have your modify commands? We did rotate. We could use move, but move is sort of like you can drag it or use the arrow keys. But if you needed to move it to a specific spot, then it's very similar to this copy. So I'm going to go ahead and click on copy. And then this is your move start point. And a lot of people don't know this. At the bottom left corner of Revit, you see click to enter move start point. If you have something selected or if you hover over things, this changes. But if you're out here in space, it says click to enter move start point. So anyways, this is going to be the copy start point. So I'm going to copy it from this top left corner, and I'm going to copy it to the top right corner. And there it is. And then I'm going to copy it again to the top right corner. And I believe that I have 4 of those. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there. I put 3 in there before, but I'm going to put 4 and just see what happens. I may have to take it out. All right, so that's a copy. And then I have over here another cabinet. This one is the one that's under the sink. So we're going to go, I keep doing it, go up to architecture and component and place a component. And look for the one that is the base cabinet under the sink right there. Yeah, it doesn't really show what direction it goes in, but you can see that my pointer is here. My pointer is at the back here. So I'm going to use my space bar to rotate it around so that my pointer's at the back. And then I'll go ahead and put it underneath here. I may have to move this around and take out that cabinet. I think that's what I did actually. So I'm going to go ahead and place that there for the chase for the plumbing in the back. All right, so now we're kind of like messing around with things and figuring out what to do here. I'm probably going to take this base cabinet out and use my arrow keys to pull this over and down a little bit right there. Now this is where you could move it to exactly that spot, but it's pretty darn close. And then, like I said, we had to move this over. So let's go ahead and center that there. We'll have to like move the hole over too, I guess. But you see how they did leave some space back here, which is good for the chase or for the pipes. All right. So we can use your escape key to get out of that. And, instead of double clicking on the kitchen camera view, which is an option, you can click up here to take a look. All right, there it is. We got our cabinets in. Not a clean transition here with this toe kick that we can clean up as we go. I'm not sure why that is a hole there, but we can always fill that in and modify the family as we move forward. Okay, so back to the first floor plan. And I think we have, oh yeah, I didn't put it in. I didn't put the Lazy Susan like corner cabinet in yet. But here's another 12-inch cabinet. So let's just place it. We can go to component, place a component, and look for that 12-inch base cabinet right there. Like I said, we can kind of visually see that the back is where the pointer is. So use your space bar to rotate that around, and let's just pop that in there for now. We do need a corner cabinet, base cabinet. Like I said, I didn't put it in the original one, so let's go get it. We can go to Insert and load Autodesk Family, and where are we? They have a lot of different counters. This is the one I have right here, so we're just going to go ahead and click on that base cabinet corner unit and pick load. See, that one didn't have that overwriting going on. So we'll go to architecture component, place a component, and most of the time it's right there already. So I'm going to use my space bar to kind of get it to where it needs to go. And then I'm going to put it in place. There it is. All right. Now, moving things around a little bit. I'm going to pull this up and pull this down. Like I said, you can use the move command where you have like a base point and a second point, but we're like kind of placing things, getting things in place right here. Okay. Now, say that we want to get our countertop back so we can modify it. We can go to Reveal the Hidden Elements, click on the countertop, right click, and pick Unhide in View. Oops, I accidentally have too many things selected. Just the countertop. Right click, Unhide in View Elements. Now we'll be able to see it when we click on this little light bulb again. There it is. It's up and there and visible. So yeah, sometimes we have to adjust these things. So we can adjust this little hole here so it doesn't look bad in my drawing. And that should be it. Let's just see. Yep. So we have the refrigerator, the range, the countertop, the base cabinet. Let's take a look at our kitchen view. I'm going to come back to this, but I do want to show you something. Yes, let's go back to the first floor plan. If you accidentally double click on one of these families, any families, a door, a window, anything that's in here besides the walls, well, actually you could double click on the walls too, but if you double click on the family by accident, let's just say, or you want to see it, you're going to open it up. Like this is the actual family file. It's not the RVT. It's the it's not the, it sees RFA right there. So it's a family file. And I don't want it open, so I'm going to close this right there. Do you want to save it? No, because I didn't change anything in it. You see now we're back to the RVT, which is the Revit file. So what we want to try to do is let's try to double click on this base cabinet and take a look at it. It doesn't have a toe kick on it, does it? No. So we'll have to figure out, what to do with that. All right, so see if you orbit around here. I picked the wrong cabinet, but that happens, and this is good experience for you as well. We can modify this one because this can be stretched out, but it's not recommended to modify the families if they're already in place, unless you want to modify it, then save it as another name. I think we can find one that has the toe kick. So let's go ahead and close out of this. We don't need to save it. No. All right. So we're going to take this one out. Let's go ahead and select that and take that one out. Delete it. Let's go back to Insert and Load Autodesk Family. And just take a good look at these. I think I jumped the gun. Yeah, I got this one right here. You can see it doesn't have the toe kick, but these do. So this one is under the sink. It's double. Mine actually looks like this one. This is double door. Yeah, this one's got the doors. I guess, it doesn't really matter exactly which one we pick, but I think this one would make more sense because, yeah, it does look like this one. This one's under the sink unit. So let's go ahead and select that one and pick load. And of course, this is the one I actually used, and I'm not going to override it. So now we can go back. Yours probably went right to your pointer and you're ready to put it in there. Because of the override, I have to go back to architecture and component to find and place a component to grab that base cabinet. Under base cabinet double door sink unit 42-inch. And there it is. I'm going to use my space bar to rotate it around like this to the back. So that's where we're placing it, on the back by the wall. And then I'm going to put it in place here. Yes, I'm going to have to move things around, aren't I? Because of that corner unit. Just going to go ahead and put it right there. It looks like the base cabinets need a filler. And this is the result of the room not being, or the cabinets not being exact. So what we'll need to do is kind of move some things around again. Well, we need a filler, and it depends on where you want this filler to be. And we do have fillers where it's like a thin piece that goes in that kind of like fills in where you don't have cabinets. But I think I'd rather put it on the end right here. In fact, my grandpa used to use the filler to hide things. He had like a a little drop in that filler piece. He could just take the countertop off, and then all his coins and old stuff was down there. Anyways, long little side note. I'm going to pull these over. We have to move this counter over. I'm just going to move it over. Sometimes I just move stuff out of the way instead of turning it off. So here it is. Oh, I wanted to show you. I'm just going to do an undo because there's an undo button up at the top there that I can select all of these either all at once, or I can, by dragging my mouse across all of them, or I can click on this, hold my control key, and select more than one. Now I can pull this over or use my arrow keys to get this over close to there, right? All right, so at this point, I am going to move the sink over to that cabinet, and we're going to load the filler for the front. Let's go to insert and pick load auto desk family. And if you scroll down, here's the base cabinet filler right there. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, pick load. And it should, yeah, let's go over to architecture and component and place a component. And there's my base cabinet filler. I can put it right here. See how it like fills in? It's like a face. Oh, did I put that on right? I'm just gonna make sure I did. Yeah, no, I didn't. See how my pointer's there, so I can use my space bar to kind of rotate that around. Put that right there, and then use these little arrows to pull it back to the wall. And there we go. Now I can move this. Now, if I want to move this exactly, I can select it and then pick the move command, right? Click this corner right here, making sure I'm right on the corner, and then come back up here and click that corner. So now I know it's right in place. I'm moving it around like this hole, right? Again, bringing this hole over. So, hey, a little bit of changes here and there, not exact, but it's giving you a little bit more experience as well. Let's think of it that way. These little things we have to change. The countertop ended up way over there. How come? We have to adjust this, bring it back down. Right there. All right, let's go take a look at what the kitchen looks like. A little bit better, right? You've got the filler in there and you've got the cabinets, and you might not have worked it this way, but even in the camera view, you can hold your shift key and the wheel of your mouse to kind of a little bit rotate around the actual that's why I don't really have a base cabinet there in my in my house, but we'll leave it. We'll leave it for now because we're, learning, right? So, this is my camera view, and with the camera view, you can use these little grips to kind of open it up if you need to. We don't have base cabinets yet for the other side, so let's go over to the first floor plan and get those in. See, that's my camera view that's created. I can show you how to do that as well. So let's go up to Insert and Load Autodesk Families. And since we're using this one for under the sink, we should try to find one that's similar. This one, right? This is the one that actually I have fairly close to it. So I'm going to click in it, pick load, and yeah, I used that one for the other one. So now let's go to Architecture, Component, Place a Component, and go take a look at where that is. Base cabinet, double, but not for the sink. There it is. All right, so we have to decide on what size we want to use for that. I do have one over there, so this room size is a little bit different. So let's try a 36-inch. 36 is kind of small, but let's press the space key and see if I can get a couple in there. Maybe I can get a couple in there. If the range is put over, let me just take a look. Put those two there. And I'll have to move this this range over a little to get it in line with the cabinet. And then we have to fix the countertop to be smaller, which is what it is really. It's a really small piece right there. All right, and there it is. Cool. And then the base cabinet for this smaller piece, we can go up to Architecture, Component, Place Component, and it's down under Base Cabinet Single Drawer. You'll see the 12 right there. Use your space bar to put it here at the back. Probably have to bring the countertop over just a little bit, but this is kind of part of design and figuring out cabinets and design of the kitchen. So this is what we wanted to finish. This specific drawing doesn't have a window in it here, and we really should put a window in to make our rendering look better. So let's look at those families and see which window. It's a part of being able to load more windows as well. So going up to Insert, we can go to Load Autodesk Family, and then go to All Results and go all the way down to Windows. You'll be able to see all the different windows here visually that you can use. This is a pretty big picture window that I have. It's actually a casement. Sliding. It's a sliding window, sort of like this one. Yeah, this is the one that it is right here. Going instead of going up and down like a single hung or a double hung, we have this sliding double right there. I'm going to go ahead and load it. And then sometimes if windows, doors, you have a lot of different sizes, you're either going to get them in the drop down in properties, or you can pick right here. I know this is a pretty big window. It's probably at least 5 by, or it's probably 5 by 5 or 4, 5 by 4. Let's go with that. 5 by 4, 5 foot width, 4 foot height. It's probably bigger, but I'll just go ahead and pick OK. If you needed more, you can hold your control key down to load more sizes. If you decided to make it a little bit bigger, 5 by 5 or something, you can get a couple of different ones loaded in instead of loading all of them. And then you can go to Architecture, but this time instead of Component, you're going to go right to Window at the top left. You'll see that I have other windows, and some windows were here by default, but we wanted that sliding window, and we'll start with the 5 by 4. Let's see how big that is. Again, we could put a bigger one in there. Yeah, let's just do it. We'll be able to get more light. 5 by 5, 60 by 60 inches. And so you want to pull the window to the outside edge and then click and then check, because see those little arrows that you can use to flip it? They should be on the outside, even for walls. Walls as well. Oh, okay. I didn't have that wall, right? So it was a generic wall, but somehow these walls needed to go on the outside. Like this one, it should be on the outside. So, yeah, if I did have a wall that had brick on it with the drywall on the inside, and this was on the inside, then the drywall would be on the outside, and the brick wouldn't be on the inside. So you want to make sure the arrows are on the outside. Okay, so this should look pretty good now with the window. And we could change this to realistic and take a look at it, but this is the first video. I'm trying to keep it less than an hour, and so the next video we work with, we're going to take a look at the upper cabinets and putting another window in and putting material for this course. And I want to go back to a couple of settings that I said I was going to show you. Let's go to the first floor plan. When we selected here our countertop and we right click and went to hide and view elements, if you wanted to hide and view all of the elements, all of those, images that are in that category, you can go ahead and click hide and view category. Both of those countertops were hidden. So now it's a little different. We're not hiding one element, we're hiding a whole category. So we're going to either type in VG, or over here in properties, you'll see visibility graphics. You can pick the edit button there or type in VG. And what that should do is bring you to this dialog box that helps you to turn on and off all of these different things. We have model categories, which are kind of like the main categories: the walls, the windows, the ceilings, things like that, the furniture. But then we have annotation category, which is like anything text, uh, text and dimensions. So we're going to be in the model category, and we're going to look for casework right there. But if you pick the little plus sign, you'll see that these are the countertops, the cabinets, the sink openings, things like that. So we're putting the check mark into casework and picking OK. And now those countertops come back. And then the other thing I wanted to show you, just I wish I could just show you everything, but there are other videos that'll show you how to draw walls and work on different things. In this video, we were concentrating on the kitchen and getting all of the families in there. But to create a camera view, you can go up to this little house icon up at the top, and there's a menu here that'll drop down to camera. That's one way. Or you can go to the view tab over here and you'll see the same drop down to pick on camera. And so what you're going to do is click on a spot. So maybe we might end up doing something in the living room of a project. I'm just going to go ahead and pick right here for the spot for the camera, and then I'm going to pull my mouse over here as far as I want it to show, and then I'm going to go ahead and click. And so there's the camera view. And so it's not, there's nothing in the living room. There's like a door and an opening, nothing in this, this area, but I wanted to show you that a new view is created, and it's recommended that you go to that view, the 3D view over here in the project browser, right click and pick rename, or if you click on it and then click on it again, it'll bring you into the edit mode. But I right click and pick rename, and then I can rename this to living room view. I renamed this one to kitchen camera view. All right, so I just wanted to show you that. This will now be the living room view. And while you're in the first floor plan, if you don't see the camera, you can click on it, like stay in the first floor plan, okay, but click on the camera view, right click, and go to show camera. And that way it shows you where the camera is. And you can move it around here if you'd like to. All right, so the goal of this video was to get some of the base cabinets in and the counter and start to get used to working with the families in this smaller interior space that we're going to develop. So keep in touch, please. There was something else I wanted to show you. Oh yeah, insert, load family. You see how I didn't even load mine yet. So if you wanted to load the families so that they're completely inside your software, there is another video in Canvas to show you how to go into your products and services in Autodesk to pick up which families that you'd like to load into your software program. But for now, if you don't have that, or if you're using with another computer, like the ones on campus, you go to insert and load Autodesk family, and you're signed in, and then you can go to the categories and pick them up that way. All right, well, keep in touch with me. We're going to move forward. This is video 1. Hope you're having fun with this. A little challenging at first, but just to get used to bringing in families, rotating them around, working with them. We're going to be moving things and changing things around, and we'll get the materials and the upper cabinets and the other window in there in the next video.